In the summer of 1912, amidst the bustling streets of New York City, Jordyn Foster longed for a respite from her hectic lifestyle. Then, she made the spontaneous decision to seek refuge in the serene and tropical paradise of Florida. She set out on her journey with the anticipation of sandy beaches, vibrant palm trees, and the soothing lull of the ocean waves. As the train rolled into the station, Jordyn's eyes widened with wonder as she took in the lush and verdant scenery of her aunt's Florida home. The air was thick with the scent of fragrant flowers and the sweet aroma of citrus trees. She saw an array of vibrant colors everywhere she looked, from the lush green foliage to the bright blue sky and the sparkling emerald waters of the Gulf of Mexico in the distance. Jordyn's heart swelled with excitement as she went to the beach, feeling the sun's warmth on her skin and the soft sand under her feet. Jordyn's aunt was ecstatic to see her. Her aunt knew how much Jordyn loved swimming in the waters of Florida, but she warned Jordyn that in the past few days there were several shark sightings in the area, though no report of any shark attack was recorded by the authorities. Jordyn simply shrugged off her aunt's warnings, knowing sharks don't usually attack humans unless provoked. So on a bright and balmy afternoon, Jordyn Foster felt the beckoning call of the sea, and without hesitation, set out for a swim. Little did she know that fate had other plans in store for her. A sudden sense of unease washed over her as she dove beneath the shimmering waves. She had a feeling that she was not alone. Before she could react, a shadowy figure emerged from the depths, moving swiftly towards her. In the blink of an eye, a massive bull shark, measuring an intimidating 16 feet in length, opened its jaws wide and swallowed Jordyn head first. Jordyn found herself trapped in the shark's powerful jaws, her body being pulled under the surface by the beast's weight. The ocean water turned murky, the once clear turquoise now a deep and murky blue. As she struggled to free herself from the grip of the monstrous predator, she could feel the sharp edges of its razor-like teeth sinking deep into her skin, threatening to crush her bones with each bite. Jordyn's worst fears had become a brutal reality as the powerful bull shark's massive jaws clamped down on her body, sinking its razor-sharp teeth deep into her skin. She felt she was being torn apart as the shark's jaws relentlessly mauled her, causing her flesh to tear and blood to gush out into the water. The shark's vicious attacks smashed Jordyn's helpless body back and forth, forcing her to endure wave after wave of agony and terror. She screamed for help, but the sound of her cries was drowned out by the thrashing of the water and the roar of the shark. Jordyn was trapped, unable to escape the monstrous predator's grip. With each moment that passed, the pain became more unbearable. She could feel the shark's massive teeth sinking deeper into her chest, shredding through muscle and bone as the predator fought to claim its prey. Every moment of the shark's frenzied attack caused Jordyn's wounds to gape wider, causing more damage with every vicious bite. Jordyn's world became a blur of pain and fear. She knew little besides the agony that ripped through her body with each passing moment. Her screams were silenced by the water and the shark's powerful grip, leaving her feeling alone and helpless. As the shark attacks continued, Jordyn began to lose her grip on life. Her consciousness began slipping away as she felt herself dragged deeper into the abyss. She could feel her strength waning and her body growing weaker every moment. It was only a matter of time before the shark claimed her life, and she knew it. She had nearly given up all hope of survival when a group of fishermen suddenly spotted the commotion from the shore and raced to her rescue. The men charged into the water, armed with harpoons and knives, their faces set in grim determination. They knew they were up against a formidable foe, but they refused to give up without a fight. Minutes passed in a blur of adrenaline-fueled chaos as the powerful thrash of the shark created huge waves that threatened to capsize the fishing boats. The men refused to back down, their resolve unwavering as they fought with all their might to save Jordyn's life. Finally, the shark released its grip on Jordyn's lifeless body, and the fishermen quickly scooped her up and brought her back to shore. The scene on the beach was chaotic. The bystanders and onlookers gasped in horror when they saw Jordyn's wounds. Her mangled chest showed several bite marks with cuts deep enough to expose some of Jordyn's bones and ribs. The medics rushed to attend to Jordyn's wounds, and with rehearsed precision, Jordyn was on the ambulance heading to the hospital in no time. Days passed before Jordyn regained consciousness, her body racked with pain and her wounds carefully stitched and bandaged. She would bear the scars of her harrowing encounter with the bull shark for the rest of her life. But she was alive, thanks to the bravery of the fishermen who had saved her. It was the scorching summer of 1956, and the sun blazed down on Alligator Head, La Jolla Cove, La Jolla, California, driving crowds of people to seek relief in the cool, inviting waters. Divers and snorkelers alike flocked to the area, eager to explore the underwater world and escape the relentless heat. Among the crowds were two friends, Peter and Liam, who had been planning a dive off the coast of La Jolla Cove for weeks. They were experienced divers, having explored the depths of the ocean together many times before, and were excited to add another adventure to their list. As they suited up in their diving gear and checked their equipment, Peter and Liam felt a sense of anticipation building within them. The sea was calm, the sky was clear, and the water invitingly cool. They couldn't wait to dive in and explore the underwater landscape. As they descended into the depths, the ocean's vibrant colors and exotic sea life greeted them. Schools of fish swam gracefully by, their shimmering scales reflecting the sunlight filtering from the surface. Coral reefs and exotic plants swayed gently in the current, creating an otherworldly magical atmosphere. As they swam deeper into the ocean, Peter and Liam spotted the prized abalone they had been searching for. With practiced ease, they plucked the creatures from their hiding places and tucked them away in their bags, excited by their bounty. Suddenly, Peter let out a blood-curdling scream that echoed in Liam's ears. He turned to see Peter's body thrashing in the water, waist-high out of the water, before disappearing beneath the surface. Liam's heart dropped, and he knew something terrible had happened to his friend. Driven by instinct and desperate to save his friend, Liam dove beneath the surface, his heart pounding with fear and determination. The sight that greeted him sent a jolt of terror through his veins. A monstrous great white shark, spanning an imposing 22 feet, thrashed violently, clasping Peter within its merciless jaws. The shark's razor-sharp teeth were embedded deep in Peter's flesh. Liam knew he had to act quickly or lose his friend forever. As he closed in on the shark, he could see the gruesome sight that awaited him. Peter's body was limp, his once vibrant figure reduced to a lifeless rag doll, thrashing helplessly in the beast's merciless jaws. The shark's razor-sharp teeth easily tore through flesh, leaving behind a trail of blood and gore. Liam's heart raced with fear and determination as he charged toward the monstrous shark, its imposing figure casting a shadow over the thrashing waters. His pulse pounded in his ears as he approached the deadly predator, his mind racing with thoughts of how he could save his friend. But despite his valiant effort, the shark refused to release its relentless grip on Peter's helpless body. The predator's razor-sharp teeth dug deeper into his flesh, tearing at his limbs and crushing his bones as he writhed in agony. Liam could only watch in horror as the shark thrashed violently, pummeling Peter's limp form into submission. The once tranquil sea now resembled a gruesome scene from a horror movie, as the water boiled and churned with a deep shade of red, the thick liquid a dreadful mixture of blood and salt water. The ghastly display was too much for Liam to bear as he gazed in horror at the gory spectacle before him. The shark's massive jaws clamped tightly around Peter's body, and with each violent thrash, the creature seemed to be gaining more and more control over its prey. The sheer force of the shark's movement was enough to snap bones and tear flesh, and Liam could only watch in despair as his friend's mangled body was pummeled into submission. Despite his best efforts, Liam knew that time was quickly slipping away, and he was filled with a sense of helplessness and desperation. With a heavy heart and a sense of defeat, Liam turned his back to the shark and swam towards the shore. The weight of his friend's absence felt like a boulder on his chest, and tears streamed down his face as he struggled to come to terms with the tragedy that had just unfolded. Onlookers who had witnessed the horrific attack stared in disbelief as Liam emerged from the water, his body heaving with sobs. The scene was chaotic, with people shouting and running towards Liam to offer their support. But no words could comfort him. All he could think of was his friend's fate in the unforgiving jaws of the shark. As he collapsed on the sand, sirens wailed in the distance, signaling the arrival of police divers and the Coast Guard. The search mission was urgently launched, and the water became a frenzied activity as rescue teams scoured the depths for any signs of Peter. But despite their concerted efforts, the sea refused to yield any clues to the missing diver's whereabouts. It was as if the ocean had claimed Peter and would not give up without a fight. Days turned into weeks, and the search continued to no avail. The community was left reeling with shock and grief, and the memory of Peter's tragic fate lingered like a dark cloud over the waters of Alligator Head, La Jolla Cove, La Jolla, California. The only evidence of the devastating attack was a lone swim fin that washed up on the shore, a haunting reminder of the power and danger of the ocean's depths. The year was 1921, and the sweltering June sun shone down upon the beautiful coast of Punta Gorda, located in Charlotte County, Florida. As the temperature continued to rise, the beach became a popular destination for locals and tourists alike, all seeking refuge from the scorching heat. Among the many people who flocked to the shores that day was Lionel Mack, a young man of 21 years old, born and raised in Charlotte County. Seeking a moment of peace and solitude, Lionel boarded a skiff and set out onto the calm waters of Punta Gorda. The gentle lapping of the waves against the side of the boat provided a soothing rhythm, and he felt his worries begin to fade away. As he drifted further away from the beach, the noise and the chatter of the bustling crowd slowly faded into the distance, leaving only the sound of the sea and the warm sun on his skin. Lionel was peacefully drifting on his skiff, the gentle waves lulling him into a sense of calm. The sun was high in the sky, casting a warm glow on the water's glittering surface. But then, a fin appeared in the distance, slicing through the waves with an ominous determination. Lionel's heart began to race as he watched the fin grow closer and closer, until he realized with a sickening jolt that it was heading straight for his skiff. As the fin drew nearer, Lionel could see that it belonged to a massive shark, its sleek body cutting through the water with terrifying speed. The shark seemed to be in hot pursuit of a fish, but it was headed straight for Lionel's boat. Panic seized him as he tried remembering what he had heard about surviving a shark attack. But before he could react, the shark slammed into the side of his skiff with tremendous force, shattering it into splinters and sending Lionel flying into the water. As Lionel desperately swam towards the surface of the water, he felt his heart pounding with fear. He knew he needed to escape the water quickly before the shark caught up. Suddenly, he saw a massive 17-foot bull shark, its sleek form slicing through the water with deadly grace. The shark had abandoned its earlier prey and turned its attention to the man now thrashing in the water. Lionel's body went cold with terror as he realized he was the shark's next target. Breaking the surface of the water, Lionel gasped for air and frantically scanned the water for the shark. In the distance, he saw the ominous fin slowly piercing the water's surface once more, now moving more cautiously but with a clear intent to attack. The shark's fin began to circle him, taunting him with its slow, menacing movements. With lightning speed, the bull shark lunged towards Lionel, its razor-sharp teeth bared and ready to strike. It clamped down on Lionel's pelvis and legs in one brutal and merciless move, sending shock waves of excruciating pain throughout his body. Lionel's screams of agony pierced the otherwise serene waters, a haunting melody of terror and despair. The shark's ferocious bite tore through Lionel's flesh, shredding muscle and sinew. Its powerful jaws crushed Lionel's pelvic bone, reducing it to brittle fragments that floated ominously in the water. Lionel felt like he was being devoured alive by an insatiable monster. Fueled by adrenaline and an unbreakable will to survive, Lionel's fists flew towards the shark's head, one after the other, in a desperate attempt to break free. But the shark was relentless, its grip unyielding, as it thrashed back and forth in the water, shaking Lionel like a rag doll. As the struggle continued, Lionel's once strong and agile body was reduced to a mangled, blood-soaked mess, his pelvis and legs shredded beyond recognition. The water around him turned into a dark and murky red, the blood of his wounds mixing with the ocean's brine. Lionel's body ached with pain as he fought for his life in the clutches of the monstrous bull shark. His vision started to blur, and his thoughts began to fade into the abyss of his mind. However, Lionel's primal will to survive overpowered his fear, and he mustered every ounce of strength he had left to fight back. With a sudden surge of desperation, Lionel began to gouge the shark's gills with all his might, holding on for dear life as the predator recoiled in pain. Lionel's fingers dug into the shark's flesh, feeling the rough texture of its skin against his skin, and he knew that his survival depended on it. Lionel persisted, and after a few more minutes of unrelenting struggle, the shark finally loosened its grip on his pelvis. Lionel seized the opportunity and delivered a swift punch to the shark's snout, followed by a powerful kick to its body with his other foot. The shark, stunned by Lionel's sudden counterattack, retreated back into the depths of the water, leaving Lionel floating alone, battered and wounded, but alive. Lionel's body felt on fire as he clung onto the few pieces of debris floating in the water. He was surrounded by crimson clouds of blood, his own and the shark's, that seemed to cling to his body like a second skin. He could feel the sharp pain shooting up his legs, making moving difficult, but he knew he had to make it to the shore. As he paddled with all his might, his eyes scanned the water, still afraid the shark might return for another round. Eventually, he made it to the shore where a group of locals and tourists were gathered, watching with bated breath as Lionel pulled himself onto the sand. He sighed in relief, knowing that he had made it out alive.